FAA drops a bombshell on Boeing 787, what it means in a move that has sent shockwaves throughout the aviation world. The Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, has just released a startling update concerning the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. But this isn't your standard safety announcement or routine regulatory notice? No, this one has caught everyone off guard. It's a bold and unexpected shift, and it's causing serious ripple effects across airlines, flight crews, and even among frequent flyers. Many are now asking a very unsettling question. Could this revelation permanently alter how the Boeing 787 flies? Stay with us, because we're about to break down a little-known but critical detail that set off this entire chain reaction. What we've uncovered could change how you view one of the world's most celebrated long-haul aircraft. The crash that triggered global alarm, June 12, 2025. Tragedy struck in the most horrific way. Air India Flight 171, a Boeing 787-8, crashed shortly after taking off from Ahmedabad. The disaster claimed the lives of all 241 people on board and caused additional fatalities on the ground. Scenes of twisted metal and emotional interviews with grieving families quickly circulated across the media landscape, triggering a fresh wave of fear. For many, it brought back painful memories of the Boeing 737 MAX crisis. The wreckage was not just physical, it reopened psychological scars across the aviation industry. With the Dreamliner being one of the most widely used jets for long-haul flights, the public began to question whether there might be a hidden, unresolved issue within the aircraft's design or manufacturing. Public panic and the race for the aftermath of the crash, public concerns surrounding the Dreamliner skyrocketed. Online communities of aviation enthusiasts, experts, and amateur sleuths poured over footage, technical documents, and old reports. Many began speculating whether the crash was caused by a systemic flaw, possibly in the aircraft's structure or onboard systems. This speculation, combined with rising media pressure, forced airlines to consider grounding their 787 fleets. Passengers became hesitant about flying on the model at all. Given the emotional weight of the incident, many assumed regulators would act quickly, perhaps even grounding the entire fleet as they had done in past crises. FAA's surprising response, but to the surprise of many, the FAA chose not to ground the Boeing 787 fleet. After several days of silence, the agency finally issued a statement. They had found no concrete technical evidence to justify removing the aircraft from service. The FAA emphasized that decisions of this magnitude must be based on factual data and scientific analysis, not emotional reactions or public pressure. Despite growing calls for immediate action, the agency remained firm. They made it clear that until a full investigation yields evidence of a systemic flaw, they would not take drastic steps. In short, fear alone would not ground a plane, only verified facts would. Digging into the evidence. So, what evidence is guiding the FAA's decision-making? Investigators are currently combing through every detail, from pieces of the wreckage to the aircraft's black boxes, maintenance records, and flight data. So far, there is no indication of a defect that would affect the entire fleet. For now, it appears the crash may be an isolated and tragic event rather than a warning sign of a broader problem. But with investigations still ongoing, the aviation community is holding its breath, waiting to see whether that assumption holds true. The game-changing detail: the ram air turbine. Amid the investigation, one particular clue has emerged that could potentially change everything. In the aftermath of the crash, investigators discovered that the aircraft's ram air turbine RAT had deployed. The RAT is a small, foldable turbine designed to provide emergency power when the aircraft suffers a complete loss of engine or electrical systems. Its deployment indicates something went very wrong in the critical moments after takeoff, perhaps a total engine failure. This system only activates under extreme conditions, which makes its use in this case especially troubling. It raises urgent questions about what really happened during Flight 171's final seconds. What the black boxes are revealing. To get a clearer picture, investigators are analyzing the aircraft's flight data and cockpit voice recorders. These black boxes contain crucial information, from engine performance and fuel flow to pilot conversations and communication with air traffic control. In addition, specialists are cross-checking this data with maintenance records and service histories. It's a methodical process, one that could take weeks or even months, but necessary to uncover the root cause of the crash. Every inch of evidence is being reviewed to ensure no possibility is overlooked. No red flags, at least not yet. Interestingly, the maintenance history of the Dreamliner in question shows no signs of negligence or oversight. According to Air India, the aircraft was in good shape. One engine was newly installed, and the other had passed inspection just 2 months earlier. In April, this information significantly reduces the likelihood that poor maintenance led to the disaster. But experienced investigators know that even aircraft in seemingly perfect condition can experience rare, complex failures. That's why they're applying forensic techniques, tracking the smallest anomalies that could have triggered such a catastrophic event. An international investigation. This is no ordinary probe. The crash investigation is international in scope, involving the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, India's Directorate General of Civil Aviation, DGCA, Boeing, GE Aerospace, the engine manufacturer, and representatives from Japan, which operates a large number of Dreamliners. Together, these global agencies are pooling resources to examine every possible factor, whether related to engine behavior, flight systems, or design anomalies to ensure the safety of future flights. Their ultimate goal is to ensure this kind of tragedy never repeats. Why the FAA refuses to ground the Dreamliner for now, in response to growing pressure. The FAA has maintained its core principle. All decisions must be rooted in verified, technical evidence, not speculation or fear. Viral videos and emotional testimony can spark concern, but they are not substitutes for engineering data. The FAA continues to emphasize that its top priority is public safety, and that safety comes from objective, thorough analysis. No plane, not even one as popular as the 787, will be grounded unless the facts demand it. The Dreamliner's safety record holds strong. Part of the FAA's caution stems from the Dreamliner's overall performance record. Despite a rocky introduction and a complex production history, the 787 has flown for over a decade with only one fatal accident, the Air India crash. It has completed millions of flight hours and safely transported hundreds of millions of passengers worldwide. Statistically, its operational record remains among the best in commercial aviation. That legacy is not easily dismissed by one tragic event. No matter how heartbreaking. Conclusion, waiting for the final words. So, what's next for the Boeing 787 Dreamliner? Until the full investigation wraps up, we're left in a state of anxious uncertainty. For now, airlines continue flying the model, passengers continue booking flights, and investigators continue working day and night. The FAA has made its position clear, unless undeniable proof emerges showing a systemic design flaw or engineering failure. The Dreamliner will remain in service, and while the deployment of the Ram air turbine is certainly a major concern, it's not yet enough to justify grounding an entire fleet. The coming weeks will be critical. The findings from this investigation could either restore faith in one of the most advanced jets ever built, or reveal a deeply hidden vulnerability that forces the aviation industry to rethink everything. The current situation has eased the urgency for grounding the Boeing 787 fleet, instead promoting a more measured response. Authorities are calling for a clearer distinction between isolated technical faults and deeper, systemic design issues. Only the latter would justify grounding the entire global fleet of Dreamliner. At this point, the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, has emphasized that there is no evident pattern of repeated or systemic failures that would mandate such a drastic step. While the recent crash raised alarms, the FAA remains firm that there's insufficient evidence to warrant a full grounding. Investigations from federal agencies, international regulators, and Boeing itself have yet to reveal any structural, electrical, or propulsion-related defects serious enough to demand emergency action. Unless concrete evidence to the contrary surfaces, the FAA will stay committed to its cautious, evidence-based approach. As this drama unfolds, airlines are already feeling the tremors. The industry is bracing for potential fallout, reassessing strategies once considered stable. Major international carriers have deeply integrated the 787 Dreamliner into their long-haul operations, leaving them particularly vulnerable to any disruption. United Airlines, for instance, operates one of the largest 787 fleets globally, with 78 active aircraft across all three variants: the 787-8, 787-9, and 787-10. These jets are crucial for United's profitable long-distance routes to Europe, Asia, and Latin America. Likewise, Japan's All Nippon Airways, ANA, the very first airline to fly the Dreamliner, relies heavily on its fleet of 84 787s to power most of its intercontinental routes, especially trans-Pacific links, central to its international business. American Airlines, too, counts on over 60 Dreamliners for its transoceanic and cross-country flights, making them essential for maintaining its premium travel services. If the FAA or other regulators were to issue a grounding directive, the financial blow to these airlines would be immediate and significant. The cost wouldn't stop at simply parking aircraft. Carriers would have to urgently secure replacement planes, which could involve paying steep leasing fees. Lost revenue from canceled or reduced long-haul routes would pile on top of operational chaos. Carefully crafted schedules would unravel overnight. Business models centered on the Dreamliner's fuel efficiency and long range would require sudden, expensive rethinking. The impact wouldn't just be short-term, it could disrupt profitability for years to come. The ripple effects wouldn't Stay confined to airlines. The Boeing 787 is the backbone of many international routes, such as Tokyo-Los Angeles, Chicago-London, and Dallas-Sao Paulo. If even a portion of the fleet is grounded, these routes would face service cuts or suspensions, sending shockwaves across the global aviation network. Airlines might slash frequencies on key routes, eliminate marginal destinations, or hit pause on planned expansions until there's clarity. Long-term fleet strategies built painstakingly around the Dreamliner would need urgent revision. Some airlines may be forced to revert to older, less efficient aircraft. Others might reconsider new orders entirely, turning their attention to competing models like the Airbus A350. Despite the heavy costs involved in switching gears, compounding the pressure, airlines are now under intense scrutiny from both passengers and investors. Frequent flyers and corporate travel planners may hesitate to book flights operated by the Dreamliner until safety is unequivocally assured. Meanwhile, investors are demanding full transparency. With airline profits already under pressure, shareholders are keeping a close eye on long-haul strategies, seeking reassurance that their stakes won't be put at further risk. Any perceived lack of clarity could rattle confidence in these carriers' long-term growth potential. Historically, the 7 Dreamliner was celebrated as a groundbreaking innovation when it first entered service. It boasted a revolutionary composite structure, advanced avionics, and unmatched fuel efficiency for long-haul flights. Yet, its early years weren't free of setbacks. One of the most serious issues emerged in 2013 when 2 separate lithium battery fires, one aboard a Japan Airlines jet and another on an ANA flight, forced the FAA to take the rare step of grounding the entire Dreamliner fleet worldwide. These battery incidents revealed a real safety risk, prompting Boeing to redesign the power systems and install specialized containment features before the aircraft was cleared to fly again. Beyond the battery fires, the Dreamliner has faced multiple technical challenges, production delays, quality assurance problems at Boeing's facilities and among suppliers, and reported structural flaws, particularly at the fuselage joints, cast shadows on its reliability. Additional electrical system issues, along with instances where the aircraft's complex onboard computers required resets, added to the list of concerns. These problems led to temporary delivery halts, a string of FAA audits, and new safety regulations. Boeing responded by tightening quality control, making key engineering improvements, and enforcing more rigorous inspections at its manufacturing sites. As time went on, Boeing implemented several engineering solutions that helped stabilize the 787 program, enhanced containment strategies for the battery systems, better fitting fuselage joints, and software upgrades improved system reliability. These fixes reassured airlines and allowed them to expand their Dreamliner fleets with growing confidence. Despite these early hurdles, the aircraft built an enviable safety record. For more than a decade, the Dreamliner operated without a single fatal accident till the tragic crash of Air India Flight 171 in June 2025. Over that span, it had transported hundreds of millions of passengers safely, making it one of the most dependable aircraft in its class. No other mid-size widebody jet of its generation had achieved such a spotless safety history. Before the crash, Boeing had been clawing its way back from the damage done by the 737 MAX disaster, which had brought years of negative publicity and financial loss. Following the grounding of the MAX triggered by 2 fatal crashes that claimed 346 lives, Boeing faced immense criticism of its safety practices and corporate culture. Recovery was slow and expensive. The company invested significant resources in revamping internal processes, retraining engineers, and rebuilding trust with both regulators and the flying public. Even after resuming deliveries, the 737 MAX carried a stigma that wasn't easily erased. As confidence in Boeing began to return, airlines resumed ordering jets, and optimism started to grow. Qatar Airways inked a deal for up to 130 Dream. Other carriers, both domestic and international, followed suit. Demand surged thanks to a global travel rebound. But the legacy of the MAX crisis continued to cast a long shadow. Trust was fragile, and the margin for error, non-existent. Step Boeing took to regain public confidence was being closely watched. That fragile progress is now threatened by the Dreamliner's involvement in the Air India tragedy. The crash has reignited public concern and led to a surge of skepticism. News headlines, viral videos, and online speculation have all combined to renew doubts about the Dreamliner's design and safety. Airlines are under pressure to provide transparent updates. Some are holding off on accepting new 787 deliveries until safety is fully verified. Passengers, too, are hesitating to fly the Dreamliner until their concerns are put to rest. Once again, Boeing finds itself in a position where it must earn back trust, this time for an aircraft that was once seen as a shining success. In the immediate aftermath of Air India Flight 171's crash, India's Directorate General of Civil Aviation, DGCA, swiftly launched safety inspections. These mandatory checks are being carried out on all Indian-operated Dreamliners, including those flown by Air India and Vistara. Authorities are thoroughly inspecting aircraft structures, engines, and onboard systems to identify any anomalies. The urgency is understandable. The Dreamliner plays a central role in India's long-haul air travel network, and public reassurance is critical. Boeing has pledged its full cooperation with investigators from India, the United States, and other global partners. The company is providing technical data, analysis, and engineering support as officials work to determine what caused the crash. Expert teams are helping analyze the black boxes, conduct simulations, and review wreckage. Boeing has committed to implementing any design or procedural changes deemed necessary after the root cause is identified. That promise, however, doesn't shield the company from the potential fallout. The incident may delay important leadership appointments within Boeing and cause ripple effects throughout the company's operations. Airlines waiting on new 787 deliveries could face frustrating delays as Boeing's focus shifts toward resolving safety concerns. Some customers may defer or even cancel orders until they are assured the aircraft is entirely risk-free. Even minor delivery disruptions could affect Boeing's financial forecasts for 2026 and beyond. Simultaneously, the FAA has launched a new review of its certification processes in light of this crash. After the MAX crisis, the agency had already increased its oversight of aircraft development. This latest tragedy will likely lead to further safety audits and a deeper examination of Boeing's quality assurance protocols. As the industry watches closely, the FAA is expected to reevaluate how complex systems like engines and power systems are certified and monitored going forward. In short, the Dreamliner's future now hinges on transparency, cooperation, and a renewed commitment to safety. How Boeing and global regulators respond in the coming months could reshape not just the fate of the 787, but the direction of the entire aviation industry.